So I found these conspiracy theories that are so believable they actually might be true. Part 2. Number 1. An unknown super predator in the ocean. There was a 3-meter long great white shark that was tagged. 2 hours later, a fast-paced dive was recorded and it was too deep for great whites. There was a temperature shift that went from 46 Fahrenheit to 78. That is a temperature that can only be achieved inside the belly of another living animal. Now, we all know that killer sharks kill sharks, orcas. But let's not forget that orcas are technically whales. They breathe air. They don't go that deep into the ocean. Number 2. The Simpsons 9/11 attack prediction. In 1997, The Simpsons released this episode predicting a 9/11 event at the World Trade Center in New York. When they reached, there were Jews outside staring at the towers waiting for something to occur. This was released 4 years before the actual incident. No comment. Number 3. Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Muriel and Eustace were turned into puppets at the end of the first season. He had full control over his owners, and all the other episodes were completely the dog's imagination. My childhood just got destroyed. This one shocked me the most. Number 4. Amber Heard's lawyer. In the 2013 film premiere of The Long Ranger, there was a fan holding a camera hoping to get a picture with the star himself. So the theory is she was in on it the whole time. She's obsessed with Johnny. This is dangerous. What's the creepiest conspiracy theory that you heard of? So I found these conspiracy theories that are so believable they actually might be true. Part 3. Number 1. The 40,000-pound Navy bomb. The US Navy detonated this 40,000-pound bomb in the ocean in Florida. Many people were concerned because the Navy stated that this was simply just an exercise. But others were certain that they were trying to kill a deadly threat in the ocean that we should not know about. I don't know. This exercise was at the coast in Florida. Doesn't seem like the right place for training. Number 2. Tupac Shakur is not dead. Every time a celebrity dies, people will try as much as they can to debunk the news. But Tupac's story is a little different. None of the suspects behind his murder were sent to prison. Suge Knight was a suspect, but the prime suspect was Orlando Anderson. And he was accused 2 years later, but he was already shot and killed as well. So we never got a real confession. The craziest thing is that Tupac's closest friend, Snoop Dogg, has stated himself that Tupac is alive. And he says it in a way where he's not supposed to expose the truth.
When Pac died, if he really did,
If he really died, what do you mean by that?
I mean, when I left that hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. So I don't see how somebody can turn from doing well to doing bad.
So you seriously think that he might still be alive?
I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never know. I'm gonna tell you this, Pac, you never know.
Oh, there you go.
Suge Knight, the man that was in the car with Tupac when he got shot, also said this.
This happened, that happened, right?
Right.
If you think about it, right?
Right.
Why you think nobody been arrested if they said they didn't want to kill Tupac?
Because they're snitching to the police, so they ain't
Not
gonna get
just to
arrested.
snitch and be smart, son. Because Tupac not
ain't
dead.
as smart as you should be.
Tupac not dead, If he was dead, they'd be arresting those dudes for murder. You dead, If he was dead, they'd be arresting those dudes for murder. You know he's somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar.
I don't know what the truth is, but if Tupac is alive, I think the whole world needs him back. These are the most haunted places in the UAE. Coming at number 5, King Faisal Road Hotel in Al Sharjah. I found many articles about this hotel, but none of them exactly mentioned which one it is. On the street that is mentioned, I found 4 hotels, a 2-star, a 3-star, a 4-star, and a 5-star. It could be any one of them. Most of the guests that stay in that hotel are cabin crew staff and pilots from international airlines during their layovers, and all of them have reported disturbing reviews. Number 4, the Jumeirah House. Villa 4 in Jumeirah 1 in Dubai. Every tenant that has rented this villa reported hearing voices of children and doors slamming in the middle of the night. The longest tenant staying in this house only spent 2 years living there. Thankfully, this house was demolished after 2012. Number 3. Al Khail Gate. This place is a compound of apartment buildings. There are several buildings there, however, only one is very haunted. All the residents have reported witnessing a woman, and those who have seen this woman lurking within their halls have all described how she looks like, and all descriptions match. This building still exists, and people do live there. Number 2. Jazirat Al Hamra, also known as Ras Al Khaimah's ghost town. This town has been abandoned since the 60s, and it existed for a very long time before it was abandoned. All you're gonna see while walking through are small abandoned homes, stores, and mosques. And yes, if you disturb the beings living there, especially at night, you will hear things and you will see things. And finally, number 1. Al Qasimi Palace. I have seen and heard the most terrifying stories inside this palace. A couple of my true horrifying stories series took place inside this palace. This is by far the UAE's most haunted destination. This palace has been abandoned since the 80s, and yes, it is open for visitors and tourists. Make sure you read your prayers before going inside though. You tell me, what country should I do next? These are the most haunted places in Pakistan. Starting at number 4. Shah Allah Dita Caves in Islamabad. This famous tourist spot in Islamabad is advised to only be visited at daytime. In Islam, caves are known to be homes for jinns. Visitors have reported hearing shrill noises from within these caves, and the locals don't usually go anywhere near them. Number 3. Sheikhapura Fort in Lahore. Sheikhapura Fort is a historical fort located in the district of Lahore. The fort is currently in awful shape, and no one is willing to restore the site. But anyone who dares to go near the fort returns with fear and horror. It is said that the last queen that resided in the fort died there, and it has since been haunted. Number 2. Mohatta Palace in Karachi. This palace is ranked as the most haunted historical landmark in Pakistan. Today, this palace serves as a museum. The guards and the workers in this palace have experienced dreadful activities. They would see artifacts moving from their place. They would hear noises of people having a party inside. And they would be physically touched by unseen beings. Let alone, the staff always warn visitors not to come alone if they want to avoid an unwanted encounter. And finally, number 1. Karsaz Road in Karachi. The Bride of Karsaz is a horrific tale about a newlywed couple that died in a car crash on Karsaz Road. Since then, there have been several sightings of a bride dressed in red that lingers around the road. But it gets even more sinister. Several people have reported that a bride stands on the side of the road at night, signaling late-night travelers for help. Once they stop, the bride's face turns into something unearthly, almost like a decomposing body, and she chases them down. Eyewitnesses say that they were chased by the bride, with her running as fast as their cars. It's safe to say that Karsaz Road isn't the most welcoming place in Pakistan. You tell me, what country should I do next? These are the most haunted places in the Philippines. Before I start listing them down, you do need to know that for all paranormal investigators, the country of Philippines is on their to-do list, as it's known worldwide for its haunted destinations. Starting at number 4. Fort Santiago, Intramuros in Manila. The walls of Intramuros turn into something terrifying reminding you of the dark Spanish era. Thousands of civilians and soldiers were tortured and killed in Fort Santiago during World War II. It may be a hot tourist spot, but at night, the strange noises that are heard in this fort tends to keep visitors and tourists away. Number 3. Clark Air Base Hospital in Pampanga. This abandoned building used to be a military hospital during World War II and the Vietnam War. Paranormal investigators have confirmed that demons have conquered this property. It is commonly visited by YouTubers, but things always go wrong. The jinns that are specifically in this hospital are a little more protective towards their home. Number 2. Manila Film Center, Pasay City. This building is potentially one of Asia's most haunted destinations. When a building is haunted in the United States, you will hear noises. But when a building is haunted in the Philippines, it is a whole nother level. This film center was abandoned in the 80s after it collapsed during construction. It killed all the workers and none of their bodies were retrieved. And ever since, visitors were always warned to stay out of this building. The bad energy in this place spiritually drains you. And finally, number 1, Diplomat Hotel in Baguio City. Baguio City is ranked as the world's most haunted city as a whole. The Diplomat Hotel goes way back to 1911. No priests were able to cleanse this place. After many deaths inside this hotel, the business ceased its operations in 1987. Many paranormal investigators from around the world swore that they would never visit this building again. The Philippines is a beautiful country, but it is well known for its horrifying stories. You tell me, what country should I do next? These are the most haunted places in Afghanistan. A lot of you have requested Afghanistan, so here you go. Starting at number 3, Forward Operation Base Salerno and the city of Khost. The base's location lends itself to many ghost stories already. There is an ancient Afghan graveyard on its outskirts. This base is guarded by 2 watchtowers. The Marines there always refuse to return back to the towers at night. Every Marine that has been in that tower heard footsteps of a little child behind him and a voice of a little girl speaking to him. Other troops have heckled the Marines until the child came to visit them at night watch. It's all fun and games until the spirits show up. Number 2, the haunted military observation post in Helmand Province. In this observation post, there are many people that are buried right under the rock after a missile attack. And since then, this area was always haunted. American soldiers described seeing strange lights, hearing strange static on the radio, seeing sudden temperature swings from hot to freezing, hearing voices in the night, and having a creepy, uneasy feeling. Several Marines posted there said someone or something was keeping an eye on them. Several people also said they heard screaming in the darkness. I'm assuming jinns don't really enjoy the company of American soldiers. And finally, number 1, the village of Nejiban in Kandahar province. This small village is very well known for its unusual stories. This place is not only haunted, there is something more sinister. There have been troops in this village that murdered innocent civilians for no reason at all. When they were captured and asked, they don't remember what they did. New people that spend a certain amount of time in this village lose consciousness and go insane, to the point where they get possessed and commit horrible things. It's safe to say that the village of Nejiban isn't a good option for a holiday. You tell me, what country should I do next? These are the most haunted places in South Africa. Starting at number 4, the Tokai Manor House. Tokai Manor House was built in 1795. In 1990, the owner of the house, Frederick Eckstein, was challenged to ride the horse in the living room. He accepted the challenge. While doing the challenge, the horse collapsed down the balcony, and both the horse and the young man did not survive this strange event. To this day, people who visited the house report that there are strange noises of laughter echoing in the manor. There have also been unrealistic images of a man riding on a horseback galloping around the residence. Number 3. Magisfontein Haunted Hotel. This is South Africa's most haunted hotel, infested with demons. There are 2 main ghosts that haunt this place. One called Cathy, that usually stays in her bedroom, and one called Lucy. Every single person who has been inside this place heard at least one of them. Well, to me, Cathy and Lucy are afrits, nothing to be messed with. Number 2. The Kimberley Africana Library. This place is so messed up. Librarians say that if you request a book, a ghost would knock it down a shelf onto the floor for you. No thank you, Habibi. You stay where you are. I can get the book myself. And finally, number 1. The Castle of Good Hope. After reading a lot about this place, I don't think there is any good hope. Centuries of violence in the Cape of Good Hope Castle have left a legacy of disturbed spirits. There have been sightings of 2-meter-long jinns in this place, and rumors from several visitors that they have witnessed a large black dog. Also, when the bell tower is empty, the bell rings on its own sometimes. This place is open for guests. However, no one is recommended to visit this place after sunset. You tell me, what country should I do next? This is a true dark web story. 2 best friends, Vivian and Bella. They're sophomores studying programming in college. In their second year of college, they started having weekly assignments that were done at home. And Bella was the only one in class that was getting straight A's in these assignments. Vivian, which is Bella's best friend, wanted to ace these tests so bad, so she asked Bella to help her out. But Bella spilled the truth, telling Vivian that she never studied for these assignments. She had a guy from the deep web that was experienced in programming. She pays him so little and he provides her the assignment answers. Vivian was kind of freaked out because she heard so many stories about the deep web. A few days later, the professor announced the next assignment date. Vivian went back home the same day and asked Bella how to get in touch with that same man. So Bella sent her the Onion web link, and that web link took her to a site that has a chat box with that man. So Vivian got in touch with that man as well, and surely she started acing all her tests with Bella. They were known as the smartest girls in that school. So weeks passed by, and Vivian sent questions to that man from the deep web for her next assignment. The man refused to take that payment for that specific assignment. Then he asked for another form of payment, so Vivian got confused and then offered to double the amount. The man still refused and insisted on taking inappropriate pictures from Vivian as a form of payment. The thing that scared Vivian was, how did the man know that she was a girl? Name, age, gender, and location are all supposedly anonymous on that website. But he somehow found out a few things about Vivian. She immediately logged out and quit contacting that man. The next day, Vivian goes to class and asks Bella if the man did the same thing to her. Bella said yes, I was already sending him inappropriate pictures regularly. And that same night, Vivian was at home having dinner. She got many calls from an unknown number. She picked up, and it was that man. And he told her that she has no choice but to send the pictures. Vivian eventually hung up the phone, and then an hour later, she received a text from another unknown number. She opened that video, and she saw Bella tied up on her bed, dead. There was a text right under the video saying, "You're next." She freaked out and then contacted the authorities. The police investigation took many months. Vivian eventually dropped out of that school and then transferred to another state. The scary thing behind all of this is that this man, that's a specialized programmer from the deep web, was never found, and he's still out there. This is a true dark web story, part 2. Jacob, a 21-year-old that had a very good friend named Steven. Steven was a very nice but quiet guy. He was also very insecure about his face, because his face had serious skin problems, and it was very hard for him to meet new people. He also had a lot of people making fun of him all the time, and that's what made him stay home almost every day. And Jacob was his only friend. Day by day, Jacob started noticing that Steven's emotions were getting darker. He was addicted to caffeine soft drinks all the time, and his appearance was getting worse. One day on the weekend, Steven gave Jacob a call so he can come over and chill and surf through some crazy things on the deep web. Steven told Jacob that he spends hours every day enjoying the stimulating videos on the deep web. He somehow felt like he can escape reality from the deep web. On another day, where Jacob was at Steven's place, Steven showed Jacob this website that he recently found on the deep web. It showed many pictures of people's skins and bones being separated. Jacob was completely disgusted, but Steven found interest in that website. The website offers a service that literally says, "Start a new life. Will make you have a new face." It was some sort of illegal plastic surgery of removing people's faces and transplanting them on clients that wanted them. Jacob was pretty sure that it was a fake site and all of it's a joke, but Steven unfortunately sent an email to the owners of that site. And a few days later, Steven disappeared. It was official, and it was reported that Steven was indeed missing till this day. Years went by, and Jacob still misses Steven very much. Jacob from his house started noticing a man that does not look familiar. He comes to his neighborhood once a week, stares at his house from across the road for a few minutes, and then just walks away. That man would regularly come every week and would do the exact same thing, while Jacob notices him from his window every single time. Jacob thought maybe that could have been the former owner of the house he lives in, but that was not the case. Was that Steven showing up with his new face? Because he still misses his friend Jacob. This is a true dark web story. In parts 1 and 2 of when I explained what the dark web is, I showed you guys a website that was on Tor that was taken down by the FBI in 2014 called Silk Road. Silk Road was an online shopping platform for illegal stuff. It was pretty much like Amazon, but for the black market. The story I'm about to tell you now involves Silk Road. A teenager named Charlie was addicted to psychedelics. Psychedelics are types of hard drugs that are legal in some countries but illegal in most countries. Charlie used to be in contact with his regular drug dealers from the dark web. One day he ran out of stock and he contacted the guys that he always does. But most of them were offline, so he assumed they might have been arrested. So Charlie decided to find a new drug dealer for himself. He stumbled across a guy on Silk Road that sells the same substances that he takes for around the same price. He got in touch with that man and gave him his address. The drug dealer asked for additional requests, so Charlie requested a disguised package. Since he lives with his mom, he doesn't want his mom to find out. A day later, Charlie receives a text from the drug dealer saying that he is on his way. So Charlie waited outside his house since the weather was not too bad. He got a text 2 hours later saying, "Meet me here instead," with a location address. He was quite upset that he waited for him all this time, but he eventually decided to go. Charlie finally reached that location and saw a black van with a guy wearing a hoodie inside it. He went over to the car, took his drugs, hopped back in his car and drove away. As he was driving back home, he noticed that the same black car was following him. He wanted to text the drug dealer asking why he's chasing him, but decided not to. He started driving faster and faster and eventually lost the guy. He started laughing hysterically, but then realized that he sent him his house address the previous day. He quickly reached home, and the first thing he noticed was his mom's car missing. He ran inside the house to see all their electronics missing, all the expensive furnitures were gone, and his mom stabbed dead on the floor. Right next to his mom's body, there was a note that says, "Enjoy the acid." Acid is another term for LSD, the psychedelic drug that Charlie bought.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. If given access to it, butterflies will happily drink blood. Astronauts must drink 730 liters of recycled sweat and urine to live in space for a year. The hospital bed you were once in had many dead people laying on it. Speaking of death, 153,000 people die every day. You're not scared of being alone. You're scared of not being alone when you're supposed to be. After 10 minutes of watching yourself in a mirror, your brain gets bored and distorts your reflection, causing imaginary monsters such as Bloody Mary. Eventually, there will be more dead people on Facebook than alive. More than 7,000 people die every year due to the doctor's bad handwriting. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 5. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. In ancient Rome, soldiers used to drink fresh warm blood to cure epilepsy. There are antidepressants that eliminate someone's ability to feel love and compassion. The Exorcist movie resulted in many of its cast dying, including 2 actors whose characters died in the movie. In 2017, an asteroid named AG-13 passed by our home planet with less than the distance of the moon. Scientists saw it coming only 2 days before it could have hit Earth. One of the most haunted dolls is Robert. It belonged to a child named Eugene in 1904. The 2 most dangerous books are called Shams al-Ma'arif and Al-Ghazali. They carry rituals for summoning demons. In ancient England, people used tops of hollowed human skulls to drink and eat. At Harvard University, there's a book bound in human skin, like for part 6. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Horror movies use tracks that include infrasounds. They cannot be heard by human ears, but they are known to induce anxiety and heart palpitations. 44% of the information shared on worldwide news is inaccurate. To date, the US lost 6 nuclear bombs and never recovered them. According to paranormal experts, when you have a nightmare, real spirits or demons are trying to contact you, but your body rejects them and wakes you up for safety. In 1954, a man arrived at an airport and had a passport issued by the country of Torrid, which does not exist. Police locked him in a high secure room and he vanished. There are computers for the Amish, which have no internet, videos, or music. There are organizations that manipulate the stock market. Spending just a few months in Antarctica can shrink your brain. There's a lot more, like for part 7. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Sometimes you laugh, talk, and cry in sleep. It's often a spirit sitting beside you in bed. You are more likely to be bitten by someone in New York than to be bitten by a shark. A human head remains conscious for 20 seconds after being decapitated. If you search up this number on Google, you'll find people with their heads in fridges. Gelatin is made out of bones. That's right. The melted marshmallow in your hot chocolate is melted animal bone. It's good stuff. You have no way of really knowing if everyone experiences reality and consciousness the same way you do. If a panda finds a fresh carcass, they'll eat it. And last but not least, your phone is likely spying on you right now as you're watching this. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 8. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. An average human walks past 36 murderers in their lifetime. There's future biotech technology. When injected into prisoners, it makes them feel they served a 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. The blue whale ejaculates over 40 gallons of sperm when mating. Only 10% enters the female. And you always wonder why the sea tasted salty. If you block your nose when you sneeze, you can rupture a blood vessel in your neck that can make you bleed to death. People that are left-handed die 3 years faster than people that are right-handed. Watching horror films can burn up to 200 calories. You may be living the last year of your life without being aware of it. You are always 6 minutes away from death. Breathing just resets the clock. There's a lot more, like for part 9. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. If you smell burnt toast and there's nothing actually burning, you are most probably having a stroke. If you have 5 brothers, one of you will go to 5 funerals, while another won't see even one. If you shiver randomly, that means a ghost passed near or through you. There are 2 days that don't last 24 hours. The one of your birth and the one of your death. In the original Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf forced her to eat her grandma. You've never actually seen your face, only photos and reflections. People who fall in love lose an average of 2 friends each. By the time you reach the age of 18, on average, you have 3,300 weekends left in your life. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 11. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. If a person dies in their costume at Disney, like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. Climate change is making spiders bigger. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Tooth in the eye surgery is when surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today. The chances of a successful CPR outside of a hospital is only 7%. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring at you. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 12. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. 41% of Americans go into medical debt every year. No other developed country even has that concept. Most of the oxygen comes from the oceans, but people are busy talking about protecting trees and not the ocean. Dracula is based on a real person. Paris is romantic, right? What's more romantic than millions of human remains? The catacombs under Paris hold remains of roughly 60 million plague victims. Cockroaches can live without their heads for weeks. You can't die from old age, only from diseases brought on by age. Cannibals find the palm of the hand tastiest. Joke's on them. They don't know where my hand was this morning. Don't think you can outrun a crocodile. Crocodiles can gallop. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 13. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. When Apollo 11 landed, it only had 20 seconds of remaining fuel. 4 months ago, a deceased rapper by the name Gunu had his corpse on stage while fans were partying around his body. The average person wastes 5 months of their lives waiting for red lights to turn green. Cruise ships have morgues, just in case someone, during the trip. If you have red eyes after swimming, it's not from chlorine. It's from the chlorine mixing with other people's urine. The furthest part of the ocean from land is Point Nemo. If you get stuck there, you're not coming back. Sunburn are your cells dying to avoid being cancerous. Most laugh tracks and shows are people from the 50s, which means you're hearing the laughter of dead people. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 14. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Vending machines are lethal. Yes, 13 people a year get killed from vending machines. Cats can sense when their owners are dying. Babies have more bones than adults. Spiders can survive in space. Your rectum is the first part of your body to develop, which means in one point of your life, you were just a... Several species of birds keep cool by defecating on themselves. Your stomach lining blushes when you do. On average, 173,000 people die per day. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 15. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. Up until the 1980s, some doctors didn't believe newborns could feel pain. There is a book called The Wreck of the Titan. It predicted the Titanic ship tragedy, and it was written 14 years before it happened. Until the 20th century, human remains were used in the making of medicine. Climate change is making Middle Eastern countries colder and Western countries warmer. There is a church in Czech Republic called the Sedlik Ossuary, and it's decorated with human bones. Another fact about this church: it holds the skeletons of 70,000 people. 4-year-old Dorothy Good was the youngest person to be accused of witchcraft. While Ted Bundy was a psychology major at the University of Washington, he worked at Seattle's Suicide Hotline Crisis Center. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 16. These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. One of your photos that you have today will be used in your funeral. There are more slaves today than any other time in history. According to the founder of the Walk Free Foundation, there are 46 million slaves in the world today. Your eyes can still move after your death for 15 to 30 seconds. Watching TV for more than 2 hours a day can shorten your life expectancy by 1.4 years. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, no one knows where that signal came from. A lit candle causes more than 15,000 house fires every year. Spider rain could happen at any moment above you. Bill Skarsgård, who played Pennywise in the 2017 version of It, was born in 1990, the year the original It was released. Yeah,